Hello, hello.
Surprise! We're
In the
together
real flesh, in the real flesh. Here we are. This is fun. I said we got to do this more often because it is fun sipping cacao right next to each other.
Yes, cheers. And if you're not drinking cacao at home, really, you should get some, okay? And I will also take this moment to let everybody know, like listeners out there in Listenerville, I am doing an online cacao ceremony this Saturday morning because we're here in Fort Lauderdale and people do complain that I want to do your stuff, but I don't live near you. So Saturday is your opportunity. We're going to do a cacao ceremony online. It's on the Body and Soul Events website. And if you have questions, reach out. I'll be happy to answer that. And cheers.
Cheers.
I'm so excited to be together in person.
Blessed.
Mm. Sharing cacao with friends is always good.
Yes.
And how have you been?
Fabuloso.
Yes.
You know, I have to say, I want to just take this moment as we start this fourth episode that I'm with you. And I'm so happy to be in a fourth episode with you. I love the number 4 too. But yeah, one of my friends said, you are so blessed to be able to have conversations like this with somebody, of like-mindedness, and we get to spend time together. Just, what's important to us. It's not surfacey stuff. And I know sometimes we're looking for a little more meat in our communication and intimate conversations. So I feel blessed that I have you to have these very important in-depth conversations.
And what I will also say is, because I hear this all the time, like, you're the only one I can talk to about this. But the fact that everybody is saying that to me, I know there are more people out there ready to have these conversations. So I also want to encourage you, maybe dare you, double dog dare you, to try and have this conversation with maybe someone that you don't think is ready for these conversations, but they might actually be.
Yes.
So just be a little brave, a little courageous, and test the waters. Maybe start with a less challenging, a less controversial topic. Just give it a try and see what happens. You don't know.
You don't know, but
someone give me a thumbs up, so I like that. So, and
that's a great segue to our conversation.
Okay.
Because what we don't know, what the other really truly wants to talk about and is there lurking beneath the surface, which I'm going to say collective unconscious. Because, we're going to talk about collective consciousness. It's an important topic because we are just evolving out of this. We're reaching up into it, down beneath it, because I want to say I kind of go with the unconscious is down beneath, like a wave under us to grab onto as we're rocketing the boat. That was taught to me long time ago. Young analyzing going on all over the place. But, Carl Jung brought us the collective unconscious, and now in our spiritual world, rampant collective consciousness.
And I think where this shows up so much for me is people thinking that they own an idea or a concept. And the truth is that it already all exists. It's just we're remembering. And history has shown this time and time again that two people come up with the same idea at the same time. And it's not that they came up with the idea, it's that they remembered the idea. And so this whole concept, like trademarks and patents and all of this stuff, I'm like, it's not real because nobody owns anything. Like, it's all, again, part of the collective consciousness. And I also believe that, like, once one person remembers something, it then becomes part of, like what's easier to remember for everybody else. You know, if nobody's remembered something yet, like it's harder for us to access that because not one piece of the whole, because we're all just pieces of the same one. And so if nobody's tapped into that, that's present on this 3D plane yet, I think it's harder to access. But once someone's got it, then like
Yeah, it starts to, it's like a spark. You ignite it and it just, sparkles through, right? Catches, the flame catches. And, I'm glad you said all the ownership that we want to have, that's us trying to make our mark in the world. And when we realize, we all have access to all of it. And that is, it's a real concept, because every time I learn something new, try something new, or be creative, in the creative process, it really, I think it's the most easily seen, because, and I'll tell you, actually, this happened with you and I. So I'll give this very good example. When I started to tone and I started to sing with the bowls, right? And I thought, I've never heard this before. And I started, doing my thing. And then all of a sudden, a friend of ours posted something of a friend of hers who's a singer doing the same thing. And I went, I sound just like that. Don't I sound just like that? And you said to me, yeah, well, it's there in the collective. You just grabbed onto it. And it's true. So I had that experiential moment of knowing that, yes. And also every time we do maybe a chakra balancing or a cacao ceremony, because we do sit in a circle, with others, a lot of the time it's a lot of women, but as soon as one person says something, the other person says, wow, I was just thinking that. Wow, I had that imagery in my mind as you were taking us through the meditation. So collectively, we're going through this, right? Meditation, I'm talking to each other, and then when we come out of it, we're sharing, and that's exactly what the other person felt and saw. So it pops into my reality all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other piece of the collective that I like to address, because this comes up all the time in my sessions, in our group work, is that like everything out there is all of ours. And so when you come in and work on something that you're dealing with, I honor that so much, because not only are you supporting the healing of that in you, you are supporting the healing of that in the collective. And but what's also interesting about that is that, like I'll have, 5 different people come in one day, and sometimes the emotion that comes up to deal with for each of those 5 people is the same one. It's like, what is going on? Or even, in the physical therapy world, we'd see like it's shoulder season, like everybody coming in has a shoulder problem right now. And so we do see these
synchronicities, I could say. Absolutely. But that's what it is, right? So, go ahead. Yeah, I just, I love this topic. And after the last episode, we were talking about oneness and unity, how, we believe in that. And I think that is in the collective consciousness right now, and it's expanding. We're no longer isolated beings with God out there. It is within us. And the more we talk about it, the more we're collecting people along the way that feel the same, that divinity within us, right? And as soon as we recognize it, the divine in us, we see the divine in others. And I love these conversations because it just rolls into the next topic, because the oneness is the collective, isn't it?
It is. I'm just curious, like, so you're teaching in a school. How do you see that showing up in the classroom?
And if, again, you see synchronicities all over the place. So if I walk into the classroom and I'm thinking, and usually it's me thinking, the students need to know something before we start this day because I left off in a way. And of course, the question that they had on their mind, I address as soon as I walk in. They go, Ms. Ross, I was thinking about that, and I was going to ask you that question this morning. I'm like, and then when that person says it, the next person, I was thinking the same thing. I had the same question, the same idea, the same, muddy waters, we call them, and then we need clarification. So it happens all the time. The other thing is when I see them perform, we're doing it today. I'm teaching muscle length. Remember that with the goniometer? But, one person does a measure or a performance of something, and the feeling is incorrect. The next person next to them is doing the same thing. I'm like, look at the both of you. Look at what you're doing to perform. It's almost like they're not paying attention to each other, but they're doing collectively the same, either incorrect or correct performance. So it's a really interesting thing. And also we have conversations that outside of the classroom usual content, and it brings us to some personal experiences that we want to share. The students share with me all the time their personal experiences and how it relates to, not only physical therapy, but life in general. And once we get started on that, you really see the common thread through everyone. Everyone starts to kind of say, oh yeah, I felt that, I know that, I experienced that. My such and such relative did. I know exactly what you're talking about. And that is a unification process that I love, because once we start realizing that we're all retrieving and experiencing much of the same thing, we realize our oneness and we realize our unity and we realize how much of this world we experience the same. And then we get to have compassion for the other one. It is the sorrow, the pain, the upset. That we never should forget that there are those happy, joyous times and there are the painful, harsh times. And, I think that every emotion, every pain, whether it's in your body, mind, spirit, know that you're not the only one going through that, right? You're not. And I know you treat all the time and you see it, like you just said, one right after the next, right after the next. So,
and the thing we talked about this a bit, but like in the groups, I think is when people can really see that they're not alone, because they're there one-on-one with someone else that's like, oh my God, I am experiencing the same thing that you are. And that, we're not meant to do this alone. And when we tap into that collective, you just see on a completely different level how we are all connected. Even if we try to be disconnected, we can't, because we are one, and we are all tapped into that oneness. And so I think the collective consciousness for me feels a little bit different from the oneness, if that, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to put words to that, because we are all one. We come from source. We are all individuated pieces of the source. But that consciousness, while it's connected, I feel like it's a separate entity from for us to I'll say extract this experience from. And had just so many conversations today about like we are all creating and we're co-creating our experiences that we're having here in this existence right now. And I know when we're struggling, I know when we're doing difficult things, it feels easier to be the victim. But the truth is, it's easier to recognize that you are not the victim, that you are the co-creator of everything that happens. And that then gives you the power to create something different. And I feel like that which we are creating in this 3D matrix that we're living in right now comes from us tapping into that collective consciousness. It's like the Costco, you know, we go there and we pick the things off the shelf that we want and bring it into this awareness, put it in our basket, take it home. So be careful what you pick. But also know, like, it's not yours. Like, everybody can go and pick it and bring it home.
Good analogy. I like that.
But it's funny, I'm reading a book right now that is teaching like everything from an analogy standpoint. So maybe that's why I'm into the analogies right now. Does that make sense? Like,
that does make sense. I want to offer another
analogy.
Yeah. No. Caught me off guard. So, but you know, I agree. It's there to pick from, and it's also, as you were saying, we're co-creating here on this 3D planet, right? Through our relationships, through understanding each other, we are also collectively here contributing to that consciousness. And hear me out. I mean, maybe this will, because we are in an evolutionary process. And as we evolve here and co-create, and as you said, if we, and it's almost, I love that you say it a lot, take our power back. You know, when you're the victim, you have no power over anything that happens. Yes, you get pushed this way, you get pushed that way, you get knocked down, and that's it. You're stuck with it. Look what happened to me. I'm stuck with this, or I got to live through this, and oh, it always happens to me. And we want to get everybody out of that line of thinking. Maybe this is the next episode. I don't know, but we want to get people back into understanding what they create in their own lives has all to do with what they're putting out and what they want to create, and the effort and the energy that is put out there for you to now receive what you want, because you will collect and receive along the way what you're putting out. If you want suffering and pain and sadness and grief and everything's not going your way, you'll get exactly what you want. If you want happiness and joy and ease and peace in your day, and you set that intention, first of all, I could say we're vibrating at a little higher level, because if we talk vibration and frequency, those emotions are higher in frequency. That will be what you collect along your way as interactions and people. So, I mean, and as we do that, as we create those higher vibration interactions and being that way more sustainably every day, minute by minute, hour by hour, we are actually rising, right, in an evolutionary process and giving back to consciousness. That's the way, I mean, I see it. And also the reason for Carl Jung starting the whole shadow work thing. You don't want to accept something in yourself, but you want to project it onto others. I'm not like that. He's like that. She's like that. Look inside yourself. It's there. When you heal it inside yourself, you're healing all of us. We always say it. I heal, you heal. Right? Work on yourself and heal yourself. And you are lifting all of those around you, especially what you are projecting onto them that may not be there, but it's in your own consciousness.
Let's talk more about that, but I also want to do, I think we have a new listener I haven't seen before, Katarina. And she also has a question, I think. Sound goes in and out. Okay, I'm struggling here with my. Oh, sorry. Some computer difficulties here, but
Technical
Katerina.
difficulties.
Any advice on twin flame purpose or soulmate encounters? I wonder if twin flame experience is a narcissistic abuse. Well, and one thing, like for me, the whole concept of twin flames and soulmate, it's like a made up human construct. Like it's not real unless you make it real. And it's like the labels that we put on things. There is no such thing as twin flame. There is no such thing as soulmate. Those are just labels that we put on things to try and make sense of it. And like twin flame, everybody's our twin because we're all from the one. We're all the same. So everybody is our twin. Everybody is our soulmate because we are all one. So I don't know. You look like you have something more to add to that.
I do. I mean, because I've heard this come up a lot. And it's a comfortable, I think, construct that we have latched onto because we want the intimacy and connection. And yes, we have souls, if you want to say, or spirits that are individuated, but feel so comfortable like being home, like I feel about Julietta. I do. And so, the ease. Thank you. I love you. So the ease and flow and love comes so easily, and the connection is so like, oh, that is my twin flame. We're doing the same thing and the same path at the same time, and it's comfortable, and that should tell you are ready for that intimate connection, and how you create that intimate connection is a whole learning process for yourself. You co-created this. You pulled this individual spirit into you to have that intimacy. So think about it that way. And how do you want your intimacy to flow and go? And what are you learning about yourself in the process? Because as that twin flame, as you call it, with that very near and dear soul, then you will see some things reflected back to you that maybe you didn't know were there. So these close relationships are the best way to really know who you are. If you're going to let them in that close and you're going to do that intimate dance together, it's called, to me, it's sacred partnership. And that's coming with my partner at home. So I didn't mean to go there yet, but thought a lot about this. Sacred partnership is a real thing. And I like to call it that instead of twin flame, because when you do have that much sacredness in a particular other, in a partnership, you want to do this, that person. It's not narcissistic in any way. It's taking that next deep dive level. And you want to do this here on this plane. You signed up for it. You're co-creating it. So take it as a learning process along the way and see what is uncovered in you. So that's my.
I think, and not just in, because when we're talking about that, we're talking more about romantic relationships. Yes. But I feel like every relationship is an opportunity for us to learn more about ourselves.
Absolutely.
And because everything out there is a reflection of us. Yes. And, because I experienced this all day with this happened to me and they did that to me and this system did that to me and not true, but everything out there that you're having relationship with is an opportunity for you to see yourself, to heal to grow. It doesn't matter what label you put on it.
Yes. I always think
doesn't matter what you call it, it still is what it is. So,
That's right.
you know, I understand that language is how we try to understand and explain things. But I find the further I evolve, the more I know, the less efficient language is at explaining things.
Mhm.
And so I do
That's true.
appreciate having you by my side, because I know you get me, and you teach a lot, and so sometimes you can bring better words to what I'm trying to explain to our audience here. What are we missing about the collective consciousness that we haven't?
Oh. I was just thinking of something as you were
Go ahead.
talking before I go into the next thing, is the reason, the reason why I get you is I think we have come to an understanding, and maybe we have evolved that much, but when you feel a psychic connection, as many people say, with a person, they don't even have to speak and you get them, right? And that's sometimes what we feel together. And that's, we kind of practice that. It's very fluid because she doesn't have to say a word. I know where she's going to move, what she's going to do, and sometimes anticipate, right? Well, we've been physical therapists together, so that movement, the energetic field that we create, um, it stands out at least, 3 feet at least. Sometimes I feel 15 feet away, depending on how sensitive. But you get the vibration, you get the frequency. There doesn't have to be words.
Yeah. And it is like we are all in this energetic field. And so we all have access to, I'm sure you've had times where you've felt people way outside your normal 15 feet zone where you're used to feeling things. I've tapped into many times people in other countries on the other side of the globe. We potentially have access to all of that. We just have to know that we have access to all of it so that we can tune in. And then the other piece of that too is like trusting what you get.
Yes.
People are getting hits all the time, information all the time, and they ignore it. And because we were talking earlier about people like, this is my invention, this is my idea. How often have you heard, I had that idea, but then they didn't do something about it, and then someone else did, and then they're all frustrated because they're like, I had that idea. And so if you tap into something, do something with it. Like, don't just be like, no, that can't be. It can be. It can be.
I like that. Which brings me to what not to do, right? We overthink everything, every step. We analyze everything and talk ourselves right out of really feeling and knowing, what's coming to us. Does everybody want to be intuitive? Yes. Don't we want to use our intuition to guide us a bit? And that's like those second tips that we talk about. Not listening to them does not serve us well. Okay? So don't overthink your way out of what the collective or your higher self is giving you. That's really seriously wrong. And when we're talking about patents and creating things, and we didn't take the step to create something, somebody else got that patent and is now $1 million whatever. So or monopolizes. This is competition, and what shuts us down a lot. And I know I have to say that too. Am I comparing myself to others? Am I competing with others? I don't really like competition. I was never. Yes, I was an athlete. I was a gymnast. I was like a solo competitor type thing. But I let that go so many years ago. I don't like the competition. I would rather work collectively or cohesively with somebody. I'm a team player, and I think that we all get to the goal and get to so much more when we do that, and so anyway, I can go on and on. I think another thing that stops us from accessing the collective and listening to our higher self and intuition, fear of being seen, judged. That's a good one. That's very clear. That judgment is.
And My experience, I used to always say, like, there was the side of Julietta that's Judge Judy. I called her
Judge Judy.
And like, there was a piece of me that I didn't like that I would be judging things. Yeah. But then the awareness came that everything that I'm judging is really just me judging myself. And so turning that around and learning how to love and accept and forgive and be kind and compassionate to myself, I find myself judging what's out there so much less. And then I also take it when I do see that thing that's inspiring some judgment in me, that's like the signal, hey, there's a piece of you that needs some work and some healing. Yeah.
I love that. Those are good, wise words, really. And I think that's why we're having these conversations. Is again, we talk about it, we live it, we try to help each other and remind each other we're not perfect. We're still judging. I'm still judging. I'm still comparing. I'm still trying to self-assess all day long. Self-assess, 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 because it's the buzzword in higher education. But it really can be crippling sometimes, you know. And all you have to know is who were you yesterday? You know, compare yourself to yourself. You want to better yourself. Again, you're gonna make everybody around you better, stronger, more beautiful, more loving, more joyous, the whole 9 yards. If you just worry about yourself, right, and not compare with the other. So that's what I tell my students too. Self-assess from your yesterday.
Students are so lucky to have.
Oh my goodness. Let's ask them after their exam on Friday. Depends on the day. You got that honeymoon period.
So, but here's the thing, like, so they're gonna go sit in an exam, and like all the information, all the answers to that exam are in the collective.
Yes.
I guarantee you 1,000%. Like, I did well in school. I didn't know what I was doing back then, but now I look back and go, yeah, the reason I did well in school was I knew how to tap into the collective consciousness, because I was not a studier, but I was an A and B student. And like, sometimes I would sit down and take these tests and just be like, I have no idea, but like, let's figure this. And back then, like, everything was Scantron, you know, multiple choice. And I really believe it was my ability to tap into that collective. I'm like, none of my professors listen to this, although are they even still alive? I'm so old at this point. But I really think that was a lot of what made me do well in school, because I was like, I used to get frustrated. My friends were all studying and in college, let's go to the library and study. And I'm like, I'll see you guys later. And, you know, I'd be watching 21 Jump Street on TV while they were in the library studying. And I am. But, or the soap operas, Days of Our Lives. Yeah. Right. So, not that it's still on. Oh my God. I don't even know. But all of the information that we need, it's right there. Like, you don't have to memorize it, and just learn how to tap in and access it.
I think we should. I know we're getting near the end now, and I think the idea to leave everybody listening how to access it, how to listen, how to be more intuitive, how to follow your authentic life path. Anything you want to say about that, you know, it's who you are that matters, and what's coming to you personally that matters. And don't ask 1,000,001 people their opinion on it.
Right.
Drive ourselves.
Nobody's opinion matters. I'm sorry.
But really, be still.
Yeah.
Be contemplative. Be meditative. Allow. Be at peace. let the information come to you. You know, just be open. Try it out. Try it out. Receive. Yeah.
I think that's, everybody's blocking it.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Mhm.
And yes, you have to get quiet enough to hear it. And no, it doesn't always come like a voice. It doesn't come like Doris sitting next to you and saying words. For me, it's always been a frequency, a feeling. And, then you get to translate that into words or whatever. But it starts with being quiet enough to receive it and then trusting. And I know that's a big step to trust, especially when people don't feel safe, when people don't feel heard, when people don't feel loved. It's difficult to trust, but the only way to get there is to start, take baby steps in that direction. But there's so much noise out there in the world right now. We're noise out there in the world right now, but hopefully we're good noise and we're helpful noise. But, put down your phone a little while. Like I laughed, I went to tour this space nearby here. It's kind of an adult retreat space. They have different sensory rooms and, the first thing she comes is she's like, you got to put your phone and your keys in the box here. And, it was like funny for me because like I knew in the time that I was spending there that I was not going to be on my phone. It's really easy for me to set it down and, I'm here doing what I'm doing right now. And there will be time when we're done for me to go and check in with the world and see if the sky is falling.
Yes.
But with my phone in my hand. Like you got to set it down. You got to turn off the social media. You got to turn off the TV. Some of the music, like there is music that supports the opening and the expansion to that, but there's plenty of music out there that shuts that down. And sounds like meditating, and everybody gets all a little crazy when you use the word meditation, but it's really just being silent, being still, and receiving. You have to be in receptive mode, which I will say is part of cacao. Cacao opens your heart so that you can receive. And yes, part of the reason that I drink cacao daily, part of it is I really like it, but it opens up that receptivity so that things come through more clearly. And there's lots of other ways to do it as well, but you got to be open, you got to be receptive.
I think so. And baby steps. Don't let the word meditation. The more you do it, the more it will become a practice, and just to be with yourself and see what comes. I think it's a good idea. Small sound bites, because I know that's how we do it.
I mean, even the group events that I do, in all of them, I'm asking people to pause, tune in, and listen, and then share what they've received. And what's been so interesting to me over all these years of doing this is watching like the people who think that they have no connection and no psychic awareness or whatever you want to call it. Like some of them, the stuff that they share, it's like you're the most tuned in of all if you just allow yourself to be. Like you think you're not, but everything that you're sharing with us here tonight is proof that you are so connected. So we are in the collective consciousness. We just have to be open to tuning in and receiving from it.
Let's make that so. I'm going to step on my game.
Yeah. Exactly. So, if you have any thoughts on this topic of collective consciousness, we'd love to hear from you. Please share. And I always put out there as well, we are open to other topics. If there's something like, I love that Katarina typed in a question for us today. Please always feel free to put your questions in, and you can also message me aside. And because we're always looking for new topics for the show, and we want to know what you want to hear about. So reach out and join us for Cacao. And until next time.
Yes.
All right. I do want to wish everybody a magical day.
Yes. Ciao for now.